There we are. To lure sheep. Because I desire wool. I want to work with patterns. I think wheat is a good starting place. Oh, hey, these lanterns are green. That's part of the dark texture pack. Okay, got it. Got it. Okay. What the fuck?
Hello?
Hello!
Oh, there we go. My mic wasn't being picked up, so I had a nibbly. Anyway, how's it going?
It's going. How are you?
Not too bad. Obviously, I have to think about how probably something. Let's see here.
Hold on just a second. You're a bit quiet.
Is there anything I can do on, or is it just something you can do on your end?
I don't know. Try talking?
La la la. Not good. Better.
I don't know. You sound kind of tinny, but
Let me restart my computer when I do that.
you don't have to. It's better now. You're still a little quiet, but it's okay. It's manageable.
No, let me restart Discord. I'll be right back. Just let me refresh this thing. Maybe something's about that.
Okay.
Just something to try. Is that any better?
Yeah.
Okay. Getting kind of a late start.
I'm not gonna be up very long anyway. Maybe, you know, a couple of hours.
Okay, no, that's perfect for me. I'm still trying to get things clean, but this will be a nice little, great social activity, fun stuff. Do you have a server address? Or I do this? I don't know.
Are you playing with the Java edition or the Bedrock edition?
Bedrock. I mean, it is. I've been playing Bedrock.
Okay.
It says Java Edition. Shoot, okay. I'll get the Bedrock Edition.
For the Bedrock Edition, you're going to need to... Have you ever logged into the Microsoft Store to install Minecraft?
Am I going to have to buy it again?
No. If you had bought it before the Windows Edition came out, then you are entitled to a free copy.
Okay. Quick. Minecraft official sites. You have to go to here it is. Buy Minecraft Microsoft Store.
You are going to need to sign into the Minecraft site first, which I think is going to be actually, or you might need to go to Mojang, yeah. Then you're going, from there, it's going to have you probably tether it to an account. It's also going to want you to connect it to a Microsoft account. And then you're going to ask for a... It's either going to be a redemption code or essentially a redemption voucher for a copy of Minecraft Bedrock or Windows 10 edition. It's kind of a convoluted process because, you know, the whole acquisition and having to keep certain things alive while still moving other services over.
I'm logged into Mojang, and I don't know what else. So what do I do here? Do I go to Minecraft?
Give me just a moment here. Let me get indoors so I can pull this up and see if I can look this part up on my end.
Xbox.
Let's see here.
I do have an Xbox account.
Well, you're going to need... Your Xbox account is, I believe, going to be the same as your Microsoft account. So that's important. You're going to need that. But there's a certain place on the Mojang site you need to go where you actually ask for a redemption code.
Welcome, Josmarshio.
Hey there, Josmarshio. How's it going?
Said. Hoi, hey guys, how are you doing? What I miss?
I haven't missed much yet. I'm bouncing around trying to, get B up and rolling with Bedrock Edition. One of the things is going to be, let's see here. Can you assign to Mojang? And once you find the place where you need to go in order to ask for a code, you may not get it right away. And by that I don't mean it'll take time. They only release a certain number of codes at any given point.
Said. I've been great, just practicum hours for elementary school family and watching other people's streams.
Oh yeah, caught any good good streams? Essentially, they have like a set of codes for promotions and deals that I think they cycle through as they bring people on board. So if they don't have any open when you request it, then you just need to come back and try again later. So you may need to.
Well, I was able to log into my old Microsoft account.
Okay.
And I found the place where I entered the code. I just find out where I get the code.
I believe the code is going to be on the Mojang site.
Yeah, I'm on. Mojang. Take me right to Minecraft. Okay, so going to Mojang just takes you right to Minecraft.net. Hang on.
Jos Marsha said,
Okay, I typed in Mojang.
just downloaded a Korean language app to learn,
Whatever.
understand more of it.
Well, that's cool. Korean's interesting. I believe that's one that was... The written language was constructed very late, so it's more like engineered and structured than most.
Okay. So Mojang.com is just
Welcome. Commander root.
I'm going to give this another poke and see if I can come up with something.
okay. Here it is, Minecraft for Windows 10. I don't have
Jos
Windows 10.
Marsha
Is that okay?
said, not really into it
It
at
says
all.
claim your free copy.
Jos Marsha
Should I go ahead and click it?
said,
Oh, yeah.
SqueakBee.
Oh, you're not into it? Are you...
Okay, looks like I got it. Hope that they're not going to-
Now to just see how much of a fit it throws about your OS.
Minecraft for Windows 10. Is that the same?
Jos Marsha
Is that
said,
Bedrock Edition?
Yes,
I'm
it
just
is.
trying it out.
Okay, that's a little confusing. So it took me to the store page, but it still says buy. Do I still need to do? I just need to click buy on it, buy it, or?
Ugh. Shit. Okay, under...
Jos Marsha said, you okay?
Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just trying to help B with this tech issue. Go log into account.mojang.com, and under the My Games heading, you'll find a button to claim your free gift code. Did you get that already?
Yeah, and I already entered it in, and it said you're all set, and it took me to the store page, but it still said buy.
Okay, so it took you to the store page. Were you logged in with your Microsoft account when it took you there?
Yes.
Okay.
Let me see. Does it give me a list of your Microsoft account? Your name, your info, privacy, billing, services, instructions.
Jos Marsha said, a 120OF. Jos Marsha said, alright then.
Yeah, the way they have it set up is really, really dumb.
Do I try it for free, and then I sign in with Mojang or with my Microsoft account, and then it's just like, oh, you have a full copy.
Try clicking on. I mean, you should be in the Microsoft store, and it after you enter the code, it should just give you the option to install it. But you can try clicking buy and see if it like unlocks and says, "Oh, you already own this."
Now it says I'm not signed in. But I will sign. On Microsoft. This is cool. Unless I'm in the Microsoft Store. Oh wait, here it is. Now it says I'm signed in. Let me try refreshing this. Still says buy. Up.
Let's see here.
Outlook. This is harder than it should be. We'll send a verification code. Oh, okay. There we go. Bit of a hassle. No lie.
Okay. That's a blast furnace. Okay. So get that cooking. Excuse me.
Jos Marsho said, "Has she logged in yet?"
No, B's still going through the steps to try and get the code to get in.
Jos Marsho said, "Gotcha."
Smooth stone.
Okay. Thankfully, someone asks the same questions I'm asking on forum posts. Well, that's all I can say.
Yeah, I was gonna say somewhere around there I had to go and dig something up.
Is it the Master Edition or the Starter Edition?
Said. Anything
There's
interesting
Windows
that
10
happened to you
for
guys
Windows
lately?
10 Master Collection and then Starter Collection.
It won't even be one of the collections. It'll just be the straight game,
Oh,
I
okay.
think. Because most of the time when you purchase it, it gives you like X number of mind coins to buy add-ons and bullshit like that. And it won't give you that. It'll just give you the game.
Welcome. Xu_.
Okay.
Oh, let's see here. Anything interesting happened to me lately? Oh, well, if you hadn't noticed, behind me... So I got that going.
Install. I own the game. Okay, good. Jesus. There was some sort of disconnect. I found what I needed.
Okay.
It looks like you don't have any applicable devices linked to Microsoft. So I'll sign into a device with your Microsoft account. Is it saying I can't do? I don't have Windows 10 on. It says okay, I install my devices, and this is where do you want to install. It looks like you don't have an applicable devices linked to your Microsoft account.
Just
So
Martian
it's still signing on a
said.
Microsoft account.
Dude, that's cool. It changes
What does it
color.
mean? Is it saying that I can't do because I don't have Windows 10?
That's what it's
Just
sounding like.
Martian said.
Ted fucker!
How did you do that?
A little while back, I ordered a bunch of these LED strip lights, and I finally went and put them up temporarily around the office, enough to get a taste for how much light they give off, and what to.
After the ad, gives you money, so I'm okay with it.
Hey, to be fair, I didn't run that one.
I like that. It looks like a daylight outside, but that's just a nice glowy effect.
Jos Marsho said. Whoa, wow, that's sweet.
Ooh, look at you changing the colors.
Oh, it's set on an auto rotate. Like, I mean, I can manually select something if I want, but
This is cool. I like it.
Jos
It's a
Martian
really nice
said.
addition to your backdrop.
Lewis
You just need like those like cool signs there, but you just need like a shelf to display like some cool nerd stuff.
well, what I need to do is I need to get my paraphernalia up and my artwork. Like I've got my, I've showed you that animation cell from
Yes.
what the fuck it is. I do Captain N, and then I have this. This is a Christmas
Jos
gift from a
Martian
friend.
said. Love it, man.
So I need to get that up.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Is that Doctor still? Is that guy still alive? Or has he passed?
As far as I know, he's still alive. If he passed away, it was very recent.
It's really cool. That's awesome.
But yeah,
Jos Marsha said.
We gotta get you one of 10
I like your overlay as well, man.
thank you, Just Mashio. One of the things I need to do is figure out what to do about the blinds here, because I mean they're an eyesore, and I need to clear up some.
I think the light makes them really cool. I'll be honest.
Well, I mean, yeah, the lights work for it, but they also prevent me from putting up any decorations there.
Yeah, but then you won't be able to open your windows. It's too hot. I don't know.
I don't open it when it's too hot anyway. I have the cooler
Oh,
in
really?
there.
Oh, okay. Okay, then never mind. I guess. I mean, like, is this? I mean, I guess like where you position it is like the best place in that office. Probably, like you can't move it around for like
What,
you have a more solid.
the camera?
Wall. Like your whole desk. Like if you were to, like, is there a wall? Like, is there a more solid wall in another location? But it looks like. That's
Jos
probably the
Marsha
case.
I mean,
said.
not really.
I see. Welcome. SqueakBee
I mean, there's very little space in here. I'd have to.
What
Nah.
would you even do? I mean, I was just a thought. Uh, what if you can just like maybe hang a shelf, like from the
Well,
too much work? But
there's plenty of things I can hang in that opening, but I can't do it while the blinds are there.
yeah.
I'm just saying, like, I have a bunch of stuff I can put up and display. I just need to figure out how to mount them and how to clear the space out of that window.
Are you at the house or are you renting it? Can you like just remove the blinds?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. No, it's our house. It's our house.
Okay.
I just
So
haven't. I just haven't figured out exactly what I want to do with it yet.
I mean, I guess what you could do is remove the blinds and then just put like, because I'm sure you don't want just the window there so people can, peep in. So you could just like take a black blanket or something like that, or like get some black fabric and like kind of just put it behind her, and then maybe you can
Just
open that up area up for it.
Said. You can do it, bro.
I mean, they're just ideas. But...
Yeah, I'll figure it out at some point.
Okay, so I guess I'm SOL until I get. How much does Windows 10 run these days?
Well, technically free if you don't mind having a watermark in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen.
Is that what you have?
I purchased a license code from somebody that was one of my distributors, and they sent me one that is not being accepted. So now I'm fighting with them, and I'm kind of angry about it. So I'm not wanting to buy one until I get a definite, yes, we'll give you a proper code, or no, you're fucked.
So what are you running on right now?
Windows 10.
But you're using the watermark thing right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it puts a watermark in the bottom right corner of your screen. It doesn't display on when you're doing a window capture for streaming. It won't show that. But if you do one of the actual full screen grabs, then it'll show up. And if you... Oh, you can't change your background. Those are the only two limitations right now.
Said. Oh no, that sucks.
Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. And, I'll get it taken care of sooner or later. I just don't want to go dropping more money if I do end up getting this code, at some point down the road. So
Windows 10 Home Edition. It's so funny. On their site, so it's $139 on their site.
Said.
And the best thing is it's only 2.5 stars graded on their own.
I would say go.
Site.
I would say go with professional.
The professional, which is 200.
Well, yeah, but there are other places you can buy them that are not nearly that expensive.
Alright. I mean, I'm not going to get it tonight. It's just... But somewhere down the line, I guess.
What the hell was I going to do? Sheep. That's right. Okay.
One for $45 at AppSuite. Why does that sound better? Too good to be true.
Some places will get special deals on them. But then there are others that are scams. You definitely want to do your homework on, the place that you're buying before you go and pursue something like that.
Windows 10 Pro Professional Lifetime Activation Key, 3264-bit for $15.
That 15 is hokey.
Okay.
40 is low, but I've seen them in that range before. 60 to 70 is decent. There are a few places where you can get them for 90.
So this is a special February event. They had the sales for 4 days, and it's for $45.63. Rated 4.7 out of 5, cut out of for 12,000 views.
Again, the big thing to keep in mind is the
It says AppSuite, AppSuite.
AppSuite.
AppSuite, yeah. It says genuine software reseller, by their own words, I'm sure.
I would look through what the details on it are, because an app suite literally means like an app package.
Oh. Requirements. Here we go. Purchase to install process. Checkout, process your order information, invoice, product key, download, install, activate. It's like pretty random. You don't have to do it now, but can I link you the page and you can look it over?
Yeah, sure.
Just give me your yay or nay. It's $45 is a pretty. I mean, I would like to jump on it. That's. But basically, I can download and install Windows 10, but for free. But I can have a piece that just gives me the activation key, right?
Yeah.
Okay. As long as I don't have to like
The other thing is, wherever this offer is going on, just do a quick Google search on the company and just see, like, is the company any good? That's, if they say that the company is shifty, then that right there is your answer. Just don't do it.
Yeah. Here's one for $39 for the activation production key. But no. Okay, well, I'll just search around. For the moment, I can hang. If you're okay with it, without me playing, I can just hang around with you and chat.
Yeah, sure.
You're okay with that. I do like the Java edition is basically the Bedrock edition, just through Mojang's account, right? That's really the only difference.
You're gonna need to repeat that.
Oh. Java edition and Bedrock aren't really that different. It's just who you're going through, right?
No, because Java Edition is still. I mean, it's owned by Microsoft. All of Minecraft is owned by Microsoft. Java Edition, well, it runs on Java, so it's open source. So you're going to see a lot more mods for Java Edition. You get resource packs in Bedrock, and some of them are free. Most of them go into the marketplace you need to buy.
So why did you want to do the Microsoft Edition?
Well, two reasons. One, this is one that works with VR, and of course I wanted to do that. Not that I've been able to play it on stream, but, I mean, that was the first reason. The second is, the Bedrock Edition is what was used when they came out with the Better Together update. The Bedrock Edition is the one that allows full crossplay.
Oh. What's the crossplay? Is it like... Oh, you mean like someone with an Xbox account? So...
The reason I'm able to play with Havoc is because we're both using Bedrock Edition.
Oh, okay.
If you're using Java, then it's PC only. But Bedrock Edition...
Okay. I mean, and I'm fine. Like, I mean, getting Windows 10 is, like, on the list of something to do eventually. Is Windows, like, you were really against Windows 10 and you did it for VR. Is it that bad, or, like, do you think I should hang on to Windows 7 a little longer? What do you recommend?
I mean, it's not that bad. There's still certain things that every once in a while they come up and I go, oh yeah, that's a thing I need to take care of. Most of it is reinstalling software, honestly. But it's not, it hasn't been a huge deal yet. The biggest thing I think is you have a lot of people who are running Windows 10 with dated hardware, and I know that my system is gonna handle things relatively well, so it's not too bad. But I still, at the same time, know that it's just not going to get the same performance as Windows 7. So it's a little disappointing, but it's not a deal breaker. You know what I'm saying?
I'm just. I'm just. I don't know. Like, just would like to. I mean, having to get Windows 10 and then reinstall all my programs again. Like I've done that, like, just because there was some sort of, like, you remember, there was some sort of weird corruption with my SSD drive or something like that, and I had to basically wipe it. And then, luckily, I was able to go through Linux and disable my files. But I can do that again for another reason. I can't even remember why. Reinstall 7. So just doing that again, so having to do that again is just. But you know, if it's something I have to do and if this offer's legit, then maybe I should jump.
Let's see here.
And you said, and while I'm not thrilled with the idea, when Microsoft is trying to make Windows 10 like their last main one now. Is that what they were saying?
Yeah.
And they're just going to continue working on this one, which means I only have to buy this one more. Hopefully this upgrade one more fucking time.
That is the idea. How well that's going to work out, and whether or not. I think it's dumb because they have so many things that are wrong with.
Like it was it was like the pattern, like every odd number Windows update or OS was great, and every even number was absolute trash.
Yeah.
Yes, now we're gonna stick with the even number. 11's my favorite number, so then they're never gonna get to that. So.
Fun fact: Windows 10 is actually Windows version 8.
Oh no! Oh, stinky! Don't like that. I guess.
Windows.
And what happened to 9? Did they just say, fuck 9? Or is 9 not a marketable number enough, or whatever?
9 was because. I mean, like, I heard what their concept was, but it sounds so dumb. 8 went over so poorly that they wanted to distance themselves from it, so they just skipped 9 and went to 10.
That's stupid.
Windows Vista.
So that's 6, right? That was 6?
Correct. And Windows 7... It was actually not a full new version. It was a major overhaul, so it was like 6.5. So Windows
was XP 3 or something like that.
XP was version 5.
Oh, okay.
So Vista was 6, Windows 7 was 6.5, Windows 8 was version 7, and version 10 is Windows 8.
This seems a lot more complicated than it should have been.
Yeah.
Oh well.
And sorry being in the middle of dialogue, Havoc. How's it going?
Is he in the chat? I don't hear him.
No, but he popped up in the stream.
Oh, hey Havoc. I'm gonna try to play with you guys tonight, but I don't have the right OS. So that it would probably run okay on. But because Microsoft wants people to just all get to 10 now, they're being stinky about it. Because if my computer can run Java fine, it should be able to run Bedrock.
I believe so.
Yeah, they're trying to push people to get.
I mean, I haven't had any issues with it. I did when I was playing in VR. I had to turn down some of the settings, but I mean that's VR.
I think Have you ever experienced like any headaches or motion sicknesses with VR?
I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
The only thing I did was with
Beat Saber?
no, Minecraft.
Oh, okay.
But I'm not sure if that was because of I'm not sure if that's because of the VR itself or because I was sick at the time.
Oh, okay. So you think that it might have just
Might have just what?
a combination where we're sick and it might have made you more sensitive to that shit.
Yeah. Because I did feel like a little bit of nausea, but I didn't feel like it was. Oh, that's stupid.
I mean, so this is the texture pack you've been using like most of the time, right? With the
It's
weird looking creepers.
a variant of. It has a light version, a dark version, a steampunk version, and something else. So this is the dark variant thereof. Man, that's a pain in the ass.
I like the sheep prints. They got black, like their legs and face are black fur, but their outer body is white fur. Yeah, I like that.
Well, I am gonna change that. Hopefully, in time.
You're gonna change it? That's the one thing I like.
Well, I'm gonna get different color sheep, and then I have different wool for whatever I want to do.
Oh, okay, no, okay, I see what you mean.
That is how sheep work. They at one point they changed it, like it
You can
used
just
to.
give them the dye, and then they become that color.
Yeah. At one point it was changed where you would shear them and they would.
Reset.
Yeah, but that's not the case anymore. They continue to stay whatever color, so they changed it back apparently. And I had a ton of
What I thought you meant was that you would change the texture pack.
Oh no.
That's why I'm so like, oh no, but no, colors are fine.
Oh, and when you do finally manage to get in here, I already made a banner for you. I don't know if you want to use it,
Welcome.
but let me see it. I want to see it.
Messant.
Oh, that's cool.
Hey there, Lacan Massant. How's it going?
Oh, I like that.
It seemed like it would be your kind of thing. And of course, you know.
Like the black, white, and then the blue, green. Thank you.
WEIIIIRD that it knew I was here before
That's really
I said
thoughtful.
hey.
Thank you.
Lacan_Messant said, your bot
My
is
own
stalking
games,
me LOL.
It, yeah, I don't know how it tracks when somebody gets there, but it announces, and that's a, that's important to me because I'm bad at paying attention to the chat, so, you know.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Hey, sorry if I'm pronouncing your name. Lakin? Oh, you don't have the you don't have the speech. Oh wait, you do have the speech to text on. I just have your stream muted because that's. Well, I'm here. I'm present. Yeah.
Lacan_Messant said,
This was something that I
No
mentioned to him,
worries.
but he doesn't. But he says he isn't sure if he can turn it off. Where it does announce people when they actually just come, and I'm like, oh, I don't think that's a good idea because people sometimes just want to lurk and they don't feel like called out. But that's just kind of the nature of the text-to-speech bot he's got running.
I
But thanks for
might be
saying
able.
something.
I might be able to change it. I forget. But
I just in my like when I started streaming, and I think this is something that BB says, like you don't call out the lurkers. Just let people if people want to stay quiet and just watch and not interact.
said,
Don't put them on the spot.
hey, I don't particularly feel
That's kind of-
called out given there's only 2 people here LOL.
Well, I mean,
Lacan_Messant said.
I'm just letting you know
My
what's
first
up. 'Cause
tattoo
it seems like
today
you're a
and
little
now I want more.
confused, but that's basically what the situation is.
Well,
You got your first. Oh, tell us
congrats
about
on
your new
that.
tattoo. Tell us about your new tattoo. Oh my gosh. Tattoos are one of those things where I'm too picky and indecisive to get. But I love hearing about other people's because it's like it's such a thing about. Yeah, tell us about your first tattoo.
Lecan_Messant.
It says
Said.
Saint.
Across the top it says Saint.
The picture of an
Lecan_Messant.
unfinished game of Hangman.
Said.
Oh!
Then a picture of an unfinished game of Hangman.
What does that mean to you personally? Or even it's just something you thought that was cool. Saying
Lecan_Messant.
that every tattoo has.
Said.
Oh, it tells the
Then
tale
underneath it
of
says
my
D
life
_K_N.
grand adventures. Oh. So it's like hinting to that it says broken. Is that kind of like
Lecan_Messant.
the game isn't over?
Said.
Oh, that's really awesome.
A reminder
I
the
like
game
that.
isn't over yet.
So it's a tattoo of personal strength.
Lecan_Messant.
More or less.
Said.
Well, that's awesome.
More or less.
Sorry. It's like off.
Lecan_Messant. Said.
Always been a depressed person.
Always
I was
been a
feeling
depressed
pretty
person
down.
and I was
So
feeling
started
pretty
talking
down and
to
then
people.
got inspired. So I
I
said
really-
fuck it and turned it into
I
a
mean, not
tattoo.
that you're depressed. So, but,
That's awesome. That's pretty cool.
Using your depression against itself, I guess, in a way, where it's like, as a way, turning something that you struggle with into something to, push strength out of. I really like that. Alex and I are not strangers to depression ourselves.
Yeah.
There was a. This is your story to tell, Alex. But you said that there was a time where you. It's not a tattoo, but it is a scar in your leg. Is that something you want to talk
The
about on
next one
screen?
I think
No.
is going to be a DS3
Okay.
related tattoo that says don't you dare go hollow in it somewhere.
Sorry if I overstepped my bounds.
No, it's okay.
The next one, I think,
Let's see here.
a DS3 related tattoo that says don't you dare go hollow. What's DS3? That sounds like a game. Oh, Dead Souls. Dark Souls. I'm sorry. Dark Souls 3. Don't you?
Lecan_Messant.
Dark Souls 3. Yeah, there we go.
Said.
I was able to guess.
Dark Souls 3.
Or I might want to try Bloodborne someday, but
Lecan_Messant.
Dark's just
Said.
that those kind of games
The
where it's
entire
just
Dark Souls series can be taken as an allegory for depression.
I'm looking forward to Sekiro.
Oh, Sekiro.
Lecan_Messant.
Yes, that looks like that's fun too.
Said.
Only way to lose the
Only
game
way
or
you
become
lose
hollow
the game
universe is to give
or
up.
become
Forget
hollow
your
in
purpose.
universe is to give up.
That's basically because
To forget
isn't
your
it like in the
purpose.
Dark Souls game you can like endlessly like there's so there's New Game Plus, but with I think with the Dark Souls game you can like make like a New Game Plus Plus and a New Game Plus, and like the enemies become harder, but the rewards become more, and you can do that like
Fucking shit.
from what I heard like endlessly, which basically makes this game like more of a less of a game and more of a like kind of a like a lifestyle. that's how I hear some people, describe the those kind of. So is the house on fire at Havoc's house?
Huh?
Is the house that has all the fire, is that Havoc's house?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's really simple.
Took me a minute, and I'm like, what? Havoc's fine. What are you talking about?
No, well, I mean, it's not on fire. It just has fire all over it.
Yeah, no. I just...
Said. It's more that the game
For some-
forces you to
You're playing the game,
reevaluate
you're
how you
focusing
approach
on what you're
things,
doing.
and whether or not you
Well, no, I
consider
just,
failure
for
to
whatever
be
reason,
the
I thought you were
end
talking
of
like
the beginning.
IRL.
Lecan_Messent
Learn failure is only a step.
said.
I like that.
In Dark Souls
Because,
you learn failure is
definitely-
only a stepping stone.
Personal struggles with it that I've dealt with myself. You know, you can't fail if you don't try. This is all fun stuff that I've been talking with my counselor. Yeah. Sheepy. So with my game, so recently, I have this bad habit of like restarting into a new world because I don't know, it like the exploration part is like pretty much the most fun for any game. It's the exploration part. And if I get kind of bored of a world, I have this, I end up restarting it. And there was this one world, and I still have it saved, but it was the first time I ran into one of those
Lecan_Messent
what they
said.
called in the
Learn to
root
focus on
forest,
what
those
you learned and
buildings,
try
those
again
mansions.
instead of despairing over failure.
Oh, just a forest mansion?
Lecan_Messent
Yeah, it's the first time we ran
said.
into one. I'm like, oh
An
sweet, this is the
important
first
life
time, and
lesson
it
I
naturally
learned far
happened.
too
And
late.
I go up to it, and I get on the roof, and I'm like, oh, ninjaing in. Because the fucking house, which is only completely made out of wood, spawned right next to a lava waterfall. And I'm just like, oh, are you fucking kidding me? And so I go in, and I try to start putting out the fire, the wood that's on fire, so the whole mansion doesn't burn down. And then of course I die, because that was futile. But that would have been like, that was kind of, I don't know, kind of a bummer. But my favorite type of worlds to spawn in is when you're just on an island, and there's nothing but ocean around you. You just kind of have to that kind of forces you to be explored, because you have to go on a boat, and I don't know. And I have a couple.
Well, besides the drowned, there really aren't any enemies out in the water, and if you keep moving, you well,
they can still get you in the boat even if you're in the boat.
they can swim up and hit you, but not if you're moving. They aren't going to catch up to you. And moving in a boat consumes no energy. It doesn't impact your hunger meter. So, if you have waterways, you can travel for ages and ages and ages and not have an issue. Except for, of course now, phantoms.
Oh yeah, and you can go. I haven't even run into that. I swear I stayed it for like 3 days. Yeah. There's this. When I have this one game that I didn't really play because I haven't saved because I wanted to use it for when I started streaming again. Where the island I'm on is one of my favorite biome packs, which is the wildflower, where there's wildflowers everywhere, and it's just an island of wildflowers. And there's a beehive in there, and I'm like, oh, this is the one that I want to stream publicly, so I've been saving that spot. So.
What the hell was I gonna grab? The pickle, that's right. And yes, Lecan_Messent. Focus on what you learn. Try again instead of despairing over failure. Same. That was
Good advice.
Well, I wouldn't say I despaired over it, usually. It depends on what it is. Certain types of challenges, I'm happy to throw myself at them repeatedly to see what I can achieve. But then there are others where I feel if it's a personal matter, I guess, then I come up short and I have issues with that. But I'm getting better about it.
For non-personal issues, you have a very, you know, the scientists, the mad scientists, like, you know, the mindset where you're just, you know, we're you know, learning how to do it. Failures is part of learning how to do it.
I think it's something everyone struggles with, and why I think Dark Souls as a series speaks to so many people.
I mean, yeah. Again, it depends on what level. Like if it's a interpersonal, if it's a society, I think it's society. So sociological. I don't know.
That's cool that you connected to Dark Souls in that way, where you know it helped you, you know, like face that part. You're able to find inspiration from it. I really love it when everyone has that game that does that. Or some kind of media. For some people, it's movie, you know, TV shows or books. I would definitely say that my media is games. But it's cool that you have that Dark Souls kind of means that to you. Is there a game that means to you like in that?
Welcome.
I know there's a comic series that means to like a web comic series that means that much to you, Alex. But is there a game that kind of hits that same note?
Man, that's hard. Trying to say one is very difficult.
Nothing really stands out too much. Just like a lot of them.
I mean, there's so many that I resonate with in different ways.
I would say mine would probably be
Say what?
Mine would be the Pokemon series, especially when I was a kid, where you just need that escapism. You know, you're going on a venture and you have all these critter friends that, I mean, you can poke holes in the Pokemon
Lacan_Messant
endlessly
said,
but
FFXV was a personally impactful game for me, though a lot of folks don't get it. 15 was all about personal sacrifice and responsibility, embracing what had to be done even if you were scared or didn't want to do it. I really want to get a FFXV related tattoo soon too.
I mean, I haven't played 15 yet. I believe I have it in my Steam library. And I need to go through, well, I have a lot of stuff that I need to go through. I mean, for me, there was a lot of stuff in 7. I know, like, everybody loves 7.
No, they love it for a reason. I mean, I don't think there's anything wrong.
Well, yeah.
Obviously, the game's popular for a reason. The only Final Fantasy game I played from the main series was 10, and 10 was definitely an inspiration for me. To be honest, though, when I played it, I didn't understand the story at all. It was very, like, the plot was really complicated, but I want to revisit it.
I mean, to be fair, in most Final Fantasy games, the plot tends to be a little,
It was like a world that was built on the dreams of dead people.
Lacan_Messant said.
Like, okay.
If it ain't the Royal Edition, you need to grab that before bothering. I hate to say it, but Vanilla 15 is missing hours of extra cushions that really help flesh out the story.
I have no clue. Okay, I'll need to look into that. If not, I hope I can get it as like an expansion. Eh.
I really need to play 7. I want to play, like, so if it's not 7, it's definitely 6.
Welcome.
That people also
Saveth Esther Whale.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then 9 just seems like
Lecan_Messant
seems like something that I would
said.
pick aesthetically.
Yeah, I believe the Royal Edition is
I have-
just an upgrade on
I
Steam.
have a feeling that you would really like 9B.
And 8, I hear the most mixed reaction about 8. I've met maybe like a handful of people who genuinely like it, and then most people say it's garbage.
8 is the story's a little mixed up, but at first a lot of people just hated 8, and its popularity has been on the rise. I think it's kind of a Majora's Mask sort of thing. You know what I mean when I say that?
Like, it kind of goes against the form. It's not quite doesn't follow the formula.
When Majora's Mask came out, a lot of people
They hated it, really?
it got negative reviews. Yeah.
Oh man, like Majora's Mask is like one of my
Lecan_Messant
Zelda games. I like it better
said.
than
8 is one of the closest to my heart. I
8
basically
is
was
one of the
cool
closest
when
to my
I
heart.
was
Maybe
younger,
it
and to
was
this day
small when I
I'm
was
looking
younger,
for
to
my
this day.
IRL Reno LOL.
in real life. Well, that's cool. I'm glad I meet another person. who loves it, because
Lecan_Messant
honestly,
said.
there's so many people.
I used to feel really personally attacked when people made fun of Squall because I identified so much with
I do
him.
want to revisit.
I never had an issue with Squall. There were some scenes that I thought were a little bit goofy. Like there's one where I think they're in a hotel room and they're talking, and he's not interacting with anybody. Everybody's talking, and whenever they say something, he thinks about it, but he doesn't actually say anything aloud. And then, like, something happens and it finally sets him off. So they're having this discussion. He's inside his head the entire time. And then he finally just, like, says something and blows up and runs out of the room. And I'm going, boy, to everybody else, that seemed really rude. Like, especially when they have no clue, like, you know, what's going on there. But that was the only thing that where I was really like, did they think that through? Everything else I thought was fine. Now, to be fair, I haven't beat the game. I got to disc 3, I think.
5
Huh?
out of 4 or 5.
Final Fantasy VIII was 4 discs.
So you were more than halfway.
Yeah. I was somewhere around the beginning of the 3rd disc. So a little past halfway, I guess you could figure.
So
Lecan_Messant said.
realized that everyone was talking
He
about
reacted
him.
that way because he realized that everyone would be talking about him the same way they were talking about Cypher.
Cipher?
Lecan_Messant
Cypher.
Okay.
said. In the past tense.
Oh. And I mean, like, that's sort of... I get
They were
that, but...
talking about like him, like he wasn't in the room or something like that.
He wasn't. At that point, I believe he had broken off from the organization or school they were with. It's been so long since I played it.
Well,
But,
sorry, go ahead.
I mean, again, I get it. But, I don't know. To me, that's one of the things where it's like, you talk to somebody, especially with their friends, be like, hey guys, like, consider this, as opposed to, again, just like blowing up and running out. But I guess part of that was because I thought he was better than that. I don't know. It like I said, it's a minor thing. It doesn't. Most of the game I thought was fine. I don't have the issue with it that a lot of people do.
So Okay, so I'm talking purely as someone who only has heard word of mouth. I don't have any opinions based on my own. But what I hear, like people that make fun of Skull a lot is that he's super angsty, and that kind of gets like to a point that where it's unrealistic.
Lecan_Messent.
But people said that about Cloud too.
The big thing about 8 that people hated, besides Squall, was the draw and junction system.
And Cloud was very angsty in that. But then I hear that he's not at all like that in the game. He's actually...
Okay, so... First, Lecan_Messent. Yes, the draw and junction system, it was very unwieldy. In honesty, it was really awesome. The thing is, they approached it wrong. It's like giving somebody a manual car, briefly telling them, this is how you shift gears, have fun, and then sending them on their way. Most games have a sort of like, they wade you in level by level. Level by level is not necessarily the best way to put it, but...
Said. It gave you a lot of freedom, but the actual process of drawing magic was awful and boring.
They could have refined that, yes. Yes. It never got under my skin that much, but I don't know. I'm weird. Hey, buddy, it looks like you made it outside. You want to go back in? There you go. Have... Uh-oh. Well, there goes a villager.
Oh,
welcome. Aggressive_sock.
Turned into hamburger.
Welcome. NastUR6996
Hopefully because you didn't attack
Lecan_Messent. Said.
No, I didn't attack him.
Ha.
He suffocated under gravel. That's just what happens sometimes, you know? Or lack thereof. But
Lecan_Messent said. Walks away whistling asterisk.
Well, finishing up with the junction system, the drawing didn't bother me that much, and I did like the fact that like mid battle you could draw magic from an enemy and use it in a different way. It was just, to me, suddenly you have so much stuff that's thrown at you that is barely explained. If they would have taken a more, I don't know, a lot of the time I get frustrated with games and hand holding, but it was so much to take in at once, where they give you no direction with it. A little more hand holding would have been better. As far as Cloud goes, 2D will swear on his fucking grave that Cloud is an angsty motherfucker. And I don't know, but I would swear to God he hasn't played 7. Because, yes, Cloud starts off as angsty.
Because Advent Children kind of
See, back then I wasn't concerned too much about spoilers,
hold on
so I
a
totally
second.
had a Tips and Tricks magazine next to me with a guide on it, lol.
I'm sorry, B, what were you saying?
I'm playing my own version.
You what?
I'm playing my own version of Minecraft, but I'm turning the sound down so I can hear you.
Okay.
So Advent Children, definitely.
No, not Advent Children. Fuck Advent Children.
Yeah, like most people who love Final Fantasy VII hate Advent Children. Like,
it was a pretty movie. It was kind of cool. But
Lecan_Messent said, I love Advent Children T________T. Lecan_Messent said, and FF7T______T.
Great. No, in Advent Children, they did make Cloud, like, totally angsty. It felt like he regressed, because at the beginning of Final Fantasy VII, he does start off as this brooding, like, oh, the world sucks. I'm so lonely. And it's like, okay, yeah, but it's mostly just like staging for the story, if that makes any sense.
Well, there's going to be like character growth, so they put him in that state for character, right? Is that gonna...
Yeah. Somebody even drew a side by side of like starting up the game with Cloud and then like ending the game, and literally his last bit of dialogue before you jump into the crater to take on the big bad, he says, "All right, gotta save the world. Let's mosey, guys."
He says that.
Yeah.
That's cute. I like.
So he like no as
said. In Advent Children, it totally makes sense he's depressed. He might have saved the world, but he didn't save one of his closest friends.
And yeah, and that's
_messant said. And without a battle to fight or anyone to save, that weight gets even heavier.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's okay. I get that, and I'm willing to accept that. It just feels like, you know, he had made
_messant said. The whole movie was basically about learning to forgive himself for Ares' death.
Well, I don't know. To me, like, Ares had been such... at that point in the story, had happened so long ago, I thought it wasn't even an issue. Because... I don't know. It just felt like a lot of his whole level of personal growth had disappeared, and I believe personally that he, I don't know, it was a marketing angle, simply put. But I get what you're saying too. Oh, more sheep, cool. All I'm saying is, by the end of Final Fantasy VII, Cloud is not the dark brooding guy that some people say he is. And it frustrates me when somebody brings that up. He definitely starts off that way.
Said. I felt it was more he didn't have time to deal with it when it happened because they were in the process of saving the world. Perhaps even why he was so flippant about moseying into a huge crater filled with evil LOL.
That's, again, I can understand that. I'm sorry, what were you saying, B?
Like, I know it's really like when someone says, "Oh, I don't like this thing," or "I hate this thing," and someone who does like that thing, it's like you were saying earlier how you took it personally when some people said they didn't like Squall or hated him. It's just it's not something that should be taken because it's a critique on the medium or the movie or the show or the game, and not on the person who likes it because.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it does feel like a slight when somebody says, "Oh, I don't like this," and you say why, and they don't know, or they give an answer that sounds like it's horseshit. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because, I mean, to me, oh, you actually just checked out Cat Icarus the other day, right?
A couple days ago. I've been watching him.
Okay, so one of the things that got big respect from me was his list of games that everybody likes, but I don't. And,
oh, yeah, no, I watched that, yeah.
And one of his top spots was Final Fantasy VII. And the thing is, when he said why he didn't like it, everything he brought up was valid. It's part of the way the game works.
_messant said. Well, it was more at the time. I see myself very much like Squall because we carry the same qualities. So when people say he's a whiny asshole, it feels like they are calling me a whiny asshole, LOL.
I can understand that. I can definitely relate to that sentiment.
So I found out how to make dried kelp as like a quick snack you can eat.
Okay.
But you can't make sushi, and why can't you make sushi if you can make the dried kelp and you can get the raw fish? You can't find them.
Maybe they'll need to add vinegar to the game first. I don't know. For what it's worth, Lacan, there are certain characters that I can relate to in some regards, and my friends will say, like, man, I hate that dude. Like, you know, he's such an annoying piece of shit. And I was like, really? I kind of relate to that guy. And they go, oh, you're nothing like him.
Like they kind of back up their dislike.
No, they don't. They. It's hard to describe, but it's how to put this.
Like because they don't like this character, and you say, "Oh, I relate to them," but because they said that they didn't like this character, they say, "Oh, you're nothing like him," and it kind of like trying to twist it into a compliment.
No. It's. Your friends might know you, but not necessarily know all the facets of you or what's going on in your head at a given time. And even though you might relate to them in some way, you don't always show it or act that way. Therefore, they don't draw that association. And likewise, the character is usually illustrated or portrayed in a specific way to highlight certain characteristics, which then that becomes a focal point. I'm trying to... I'm trying to remember which ones have come up the most. But there's only one that comes...
Two characters that I know that you relate the most to, that you've disclosed to me, is Trace from Axiom Verge and Sans.
To a certain extent, yeah.
But
like,
I guess Luigi too, because he's kind of...
Yeah. That's a good example, is Luigi.
Yeah, a lot of people... Yeah, Luigi's definitely one of those characters that are oddly... people are on the fence about.
People, you know, some people, you know, it's like rooting for the underdog. Some people laugh at him, and some people just fucking hate Luigi because, you know, he's whiny and scared and annoying. And, I don't necessarily think I have those qualities, but I know what it feels like.
_Messent said, sorry for the random ask if you guys said anything to me. Had to wash my tattoo.
Kind of like...
It's okay, dude.
Is it like to be under someone's shadow?
That's one thing, yeah. The one that keeps coming to my mind is like in Rick and Morty. You know, obviously I like Rick Sanchez, and I can understand the way he feels frustration at a lot of things. But in particular, this one friend of mine was saying, like, man, I can't fucking stand... what the hell is the dad's name?
Oh, Jerry.
Yeah. And I was like, you know, he's not a bad guy. I actually kind of like him. And he's like, what, really? Like he's just so useless and this and that. And I was like, well, I mean, he doesn't do the crazy adventures, but he's down to earth and he's a good guy. And like, I
would say he's a better player than...
That what? You still cut out. I'm sorry.
I think he's a better parent than Beth.
Oh yes, absolutely. Beth is an interesting character and she's very intelligent, but as far as a parent goes, she's kind of garbo.
They make a point where she blames her. And the thing is that what Jerry wants from Beth is not at all too much to ask. He's asking Beth to put her family first before her grandpa or her father, who has a history of abandoning the family and kind of is selfish but because she's so
because she has daddy issues.
Yeah, she's got abandonment issues. She constantly puts them first, and her whole family suffers from that. And what Jerry asks of her isn't all that crazy. It's actually really reasonable. But because Jerry is often made fun of because a lot of the show is through the perspective of Rick.
Yeah.
Because he's the main character, and he makes fun of Jerry constantly. So Jerry is often seen as a joke. But the thing is, Rick is... I relate to Rick too as far as his depression goes and stuff like that, but he's not a character to idolize. He is selfish. He is... His fuckle, nihilistic sense of the world is not... doesn't make him happy. It often is the reason why he's unhappy and makes, horrible choices. And Jerry, the reason that Beth divorced him is because he was asking Beth, you've got to make a choice here. And Beth made the shitty decision of choosing her father over him, and they found, and the thing, though, maybe Jerry and Beth, they probably should get a divorce. They probably should not be with each other because
realistically, yeah.
They're not good for each other as people. But that doesn't mean that they can't find happiness elsewhere, and they can still love their kids and stuff like that. But Jerry was put in that position because he asked Beth to make a choice, and she chose she was the one to make a very selfish choice, much like her father does. So, I think Jerry is luckless, but a lot of his luckless is because he relies of other people around him, not directly because of his choice. More or less. There's definitely choices he makes because he's not a perfect person. But, him wanting, he definitely has an inflated ego that's brought on by insecurities. But, being constantly compared to how smart and, it's completely reasonable. One of my favorite episodes was when he was talking with, or one of my favorite moments, I guess, was when he was talking with that Rick from another, universe that was actually really nice, and said hey, you can like these things and not feel like you have, and that was very profound, and it showed Jerry, there's nothing wrong with Jerry's interest or what he likes. It's that people constantly make him feel bad, and that he feels like he has to he feels like he has to make up for it for the way that other people make him feel. He's not like the episode where he wanted to keep his penis. It's for him to make the choice of where he wants to keep his dick. It was the other people making him feel like shit that was really wrong. He should feel like he obviously cared too much what others think, and he didn't want to be labeled as the bad guy. But him wanting to keep his dick is totally a reasonable. It's totally a reasonable thing. I thought that was just my two.
Yeah. I don't know. He is kind of boring, but he is a good guy.
He's a good guy. He's boring, comparatively, especially to the other characters around him. But yeah, he doesn't deserve. Rick is the asshole for giving him constantly belittling Jerry and making him feel like he has no control of his household. So that's and that's on Rick. That's not on Jerry.
Yeah. You know, and that's kind of what I meant. Is, I mean, like, don't get me wrong. The point is, like, Jerry is kind of the walking joke of the show, right? I mean, Morty is in a way too, but
But that doesn't make them that doesn't make them deserving of it. It doesn't make them deserving of hate, I guess.
yeah. And circling back, Lacan, if you're still here, that was kind of the point that I was getting at, is that, you know, even if somebody...
Sorry.
What the fuck? Oh, jeez.
Sorry, going on tangents there.
No, it's okay. I mean, the entire discussion there related to the base thing, that was, even though, you know, people are saying things about this character and you feel that you relate to the character, it doesn't necessarily mean that they feel that way about you.
Yeah.
You know, because of issues you're going through, you can say that you can connect with the character and see some of their trials and their harder sides that other people don't necessarily pay mind to. In just like the whole discussion we had, you know, just now.
And Rick, but he's, you know, he's far from being a complete bad guy either. Like, there's that episode where Morty was assaulted by that giant jellybean, which sounds ridiculous, but that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
And
Can
him
underscore
just
message.
like not doing it in front of Morty,
totally.
not even like making it a
I
big
no
deal.
longer feel attacked when folks talk
But
about
you know,
it.
killing this guy, like, that's
good. That's good.
That was a good moment.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw. I thought I shared it in the. When I was
but
a
when the
vicious.
game first came out, I was a vicious defender. LOL.
And I can understand that. I can totally understand that. Dude, what the fuck was I gonna say? Give me a second here. I thought I posted a video in the D&D channel of the guy doing a breakdown of what alignment is Rick Sanchez. Did you see that?
I don't think I have, but
okay.
like a true neutral or something like that.
Basically he tallies everything up and says that for the most part he's chaotic good.
I can respect that. I agree with that.
You know, he does the right thing. He's selfish and he has a lot of his own like issues to work through. The way the guy defines certain things too is like not necessarily the best way of trying to classify alignment. Like, good and evil, he broke into the like standard D&D, you know, or the simplest D&D format, and that is it's good if it helps things, and if it harms things, it's evil. You know, which to me is a little bit black and white, but he is trying to, you know, have a metric to break all these different characters down, and that makes it easier. And I had actually more issues with his metric of chaotic versus lawful, because if there was an action that wasn't outright, well, either of the two, he would basically deem something lawful if it was like for the greater good, and chaotic if it was something that was selfish. Which, I mean,
Doesn't always work like that.
no. I still really like the video, and I generally agree with his end statement, but you know, I don't know if I would necessarily say that Rick is not something you want, or not a person you want to idolize. Like, he does have his redeeming qualities, but he has his shortcomings too. And even I don't remember who it was. One of the writers, is Dan Harmon the bigger guy with the beard?
Yes.
Okay, so Dan Harmon in an interview said that in a way, Jerry is more, you know, satisfied with life than Rick is. And you know, we don't know exactly what Rick went through. Of course, that's one of the things they've. Hello, Bat.
As far as with his wife, is Beth's mom? Is it confirmed that she's dead or something?
How much have you seen of the show?
Probably. I had stuck episodes. Did they go into something there?
You what?
These 5 new episodes that really released late last year or earlier this year. I haven't seen those yet.
Okay, but you saw the previous season?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, beginning of the previous season, they did suggest that his wife is dead. But they haven't said that for certain. So, you know, in the end, I really don't know. There's some bigger theories that I'm kind of leaning towards. He has his I don't know what you want to call it, dimensional teleporter, right? And it's cool, whatever. It you know, makes essentially tears between different realities or points in reality. They've made a point in a couple of episodes to say that, like, there was one specifically where they wanted to get pizza, right? And the pizza place was closed. It was already, like...
They went to, like, a different universe where pizza was people or something like that?
All he did was go to a different universe where daylight savings time didn't exist. And he specifically, like, looks at the camera. Well, one of the theories is that Rick is, you know, aware of the fourth wall, and he's the only one who really knows that, you know, he's a character in a show. So that could be, like, you know, his burden of knowing that, you know, his life is a fiction and it doesn't matter. But I don't think that's it. I think that's just breaking the fourth wall for the sake of amusement. I believe, well, it is that sort of like something doesn't matter, but on a different level.
Not nihilistic, but...
okay, so he specifically, after getting the pizza, he laughs and he looks directly at the camera and says, "It's not time travel. I just went to another world where you know."
Oh, like how they don't want to go into. Okay, like the running joke of the show is that time travel is always going to be on the shelf, like literally on the back, because they don't want to deal with that, and people are going to look. It's like how you would time travel that time. Like, give me like that.
Well. They've seemed to suggest that time travel is a big no-no. And, I mean, let's face it, one of the few times Rick did mess with time, he almost got himself and his grandchildren killed.
Oh, yeah,
at the beginning of the second season.
Yes.
And he has, in the back of the garage, a box labeled time travel stuff.
Yeah. That was the reference. Basically, the joke is that the show writers, they all agree that they're never going to go into time travel, and that time travel is always going to be on the shelf, which is a term in, you know, the industry. Like, it's there.
It's there, but it's not used.
Yeah, and that's the time travel stuff on the shelf is that literal reference.
But what if it's more than a joke?
You think there's something?
bloodluster.
Well, what happens when you change the past? The only thing that's worse, I mean, like, you can go to multiple different realities where you're still you, or there's minor things that are the you know, different or the same. But if you go back to a fractured point in time, then you don't just change that one. You change all the multiverse realities that come from that choice. So by fucking with time, he doesn't just fuck with his own timeline. He fucks with all the timelines that are related to that point in his life. And in doing so, he can completely, inadvertently or not, erase somebody from his life. And do something where, I mean, like, time travel is this really tricky thing where, you know, you think that the whole, you know, thing was dark in, what, the third episode of season 1, where it's just like, well, everything's fucked, time to go to another reality. Yeah, that seems bad. But it's one thing to, you know, leave a family, find another one, or have others to, like, try and worry about. It's another thing to erase who knows how many from multiple layers of existence and history simultaneously.
So you think he did that with his wife? Or...
I don't know if it's going to be with his wife, but I have a feeling it's something to do with that. And if that's the case, like, I mean, they've also said that there is one, like, very big secret of Rick's that they are never going to disclose on the show.
Really?
Yeah.
How are they gonna? Is it just gonna remain a secret forever?
Apparently. I mean, they literally said they're just never going to cover it on the show. They're going to leave hints about what it is and let fans speculate on their own.
Like watch a film figure.
Yeah.
That's
The bottom line is, like, there is going to be an official, like, Rick did the really bad thing, but they're never going to say what that thing was.
nice.
Now, whether they, you know, say that, you know, unofficially off record somewhere, or... Oh, hey, what a nice little surprise. I'm going to need to get water in here, or I'm going to have a bad time.
Ooh.
Yep. Right over that magma pit, so I better get some fucking water in here.
What was it? Kilometer said diamond luck. That's what I call it.
Yeah. Or diamond curse.
Diamond curse. That was it.
I mean, it's going to be hard for me to reach it in the first place. And having that there, it's too likely that I can miss it and it'll just drop into the goop and, you know, get toasted. I mean, from what I can tell, it looks like... Oh, wait a minute. I may not need that. Okay, let's see here. 29, negative 154. I might be able to just flood it.
You can have the access. Whatchamacallit? Oh shit, obsidian. Is there any other use for obsidian other than portals?
Enchanting tables.
What does the hopper do? Because I made the hopper and I don't know what to do.
Oh, the hopper will load things into something else. Usually a chest.
Oh. Okay.
If you have, say, something that, if you have,
because I'm trying not to, I'm trying to make things and not look at the Wikipedia too much.
Like,
I never really, one thing I've never really done with Minecraft is explore the potion making, the enchantment process, and all that. And I'm trying to, but
That, I mean, you do what you want and have fun with it, but honestly, as far as the potion making goes...
Blaze rods, right?
The what?
Blaze rods, right? That's what
you do, but there are so many recipes out there that don't work. And
just good release materials, you say.
And some of it, like you are gonna go like, why would you ever do that? And then it turns out it's a potion, a really expensive potion.
Okay, well I guess I'd just look into that.
The enchanting table. The only thing I would recommend is, I mean, honestly, the enchantments are pretty randomized anyway. Man, I'm running around. I don't want to lose track of those diamonds. I probably have already. The enchantments are pretty randomized as is.
You need... Okay.
Okay, so that's what I'll do.
We'll see if once I'm able to make stuff. I just
you want to look up how to set up bookshelves, because the amount of bookshelves around an enchanting table increase the effect of the enchantment. So if you go and you start enchanting stuff without them, you'll be wasting a lot of levels playing around with that.
Also, apparently, map making, like, I just want to make a map where I fill it out eventually, but I don't think that I can do that in the Java edition.
You can.
Okay, because it said Bedrock edition only on the page, but I guess that means technically I am playing the Bedrock edition, but just the Java.
No, they still have differences between the two.
Okay, well,
for Java Edition, I believe, in order to make a whatever the fuck that kind of map is called.
It's an empty map.
No. Well, you do need an empty map, but you need one that does a little bit more than that.
Well, okay, so the map that I can make right now, that I made in my is a map with its capers around a compass, and when I use it, it just gives me the whole area. But I can't really choose, like the spawn point where I use the map doesn't really make sense. Maybe it's just the area direction I'm facing or something like that. But I kind of just wanted a map where I fill it out as I go, and that was something I could make in an earlier version, but it's saying that so I have a cartography table. What's the cartography table for? If I can just make an empty map without it.
That's for duplicating and expanding maps. Oh! Okay, so if you make a map and it's zoom level 1, you zoom in almost the entire area with your coverable range. As you explore, like when you've seen me or Havoc like moving around a map, filling it in, that like the map you have right now is zoom level 1.
So I have to like zoom out on it?
Yeah. And you use the cartography table with blank pieces of paper and your map to create zoomed versions. Every time you zoom out, it clears the map, so you need to re-explore areas. The first map you make literally just fills in almost everywhere around you, and from that point forward, every time you zoom out, that clearable area stays the same, but because the map is larger, it counts for a smaller portion of the map. And if you've seen it when I'm like clearing it out on the last one, that's a level 4. So if that gives you any idea of like how large everything is.
And it did seem zoomed in. I just thought that because it was a different game, it was a different version. Okay, hang on then. Let me see. So I'm going to use my empty map. Gives me basically, okay, so now I take it to the cartography table. And how do I make it, oh, no, that's just how I make a copy. How do I make it zoom? How do I upgrade it?
What were you trying to place on the cartography table?
Well, okay, so I have the map. I made the map with the compass in the middle.
Yeah.
I want to zoom out. I want to zoom out on it. I want to upgrade it. How do I do that?
I believe that's just putting in the map and a blank piece of paper.
Oh, look at that. That totally works.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. Okay, thank you.
And I believe you can zoom out to level 4.
Oh, shoot. I think I went up to 5 just now.
Maybe it's different in Java Edition. I don't know.
That is so fucking... Okay, but I can't zoom back in, right? I can't
No.
zoom in. Okay.
And that's why I was saying if you might want to make copies of them. If you want them at a certain range.
Okay. Make more copies. One compass. That's fine. This is actually an ocean map. This one. Where's this one? It's so funny how sugar and paper come from the same material in this world.
How what?
How sugar and paper come from the same material in this world.
Well, I mean, you know, you do get a lot of
Can you
pulp out of sugarcane.
Okay, so it's not.
It's not impossible. Is it common? No, but it's not impossible. Any sort of I mean, there are a bunch of different things that can be used to make paper. I mean, look at papyrus. That was river reeds.
Well, I think before this was labeled as sugarcane, it was labeled as papyrus. But then they introduced cooking and then made it sugar.
Well, then that would make sense. And yeah, it would fit both requirements then.
Okay. I'm going to. This. Okay, that's it.
So Havoc's chomping at the bit for the Nether update.
I really I'm waiting for it too because, you know, the Nether was cool when it came out, but it's like one of the most boring places because it's so samey.
Well, I mean, it was kind of like you said when it came out. It was a big deal. It was something that was new and that was a challenge. But I don't know if I've just got better at dealing with the game or what. But I mean, it can still be quite dangerous. But it's just not that big a deal now. You know, for some reason I feel like ghasts used to take a lot more punishment before they would go down.
Do you think they nerfed them a little bit?
Maybe. I mean, I remember being scared shitless of them. and trying to come up with ways to engage them. But now it's like literally 2 arrows, they're done. You know, to me that's that like woohoo. You know, they aren't a big deal. That's all there is to it for me. Well, I mean, they still are if you run into them and you don't have arrows.
Yeah. So
don't misunderstand there.
No,
but
but they're not. They don't make you sweat like you used to.
No, and maybe it's, you know, because metal armor is better. I don't know. They just don't seem to be. They don't.
Yeah, I watched you and Havoc and Clay, I think his name was.
Mm-hmm.
You guys together take them down easily.
Once you start running out of arrows, then yeah, you run into problems. Either you got to play ping pong with them, or you have to hit them with a fishing rod. Get them with the fishing rod, you can yank them towards you and then beat the shit out of them. You know, that works fine, or relatively well. The fishing rod doesn't seem to have the range on it that I remember, so you know, that's a thing too. Maybe they made them easier to kill, but in turn, like, brought down the distance on the fishing rod. I don't know. Whatever it is, yeah, they don't seem to be that big a deal anymore. You know, pigmen aren't a big deal as long as you don't hit them.
Recommend for food wise, like toasted seed. So so the berries are nice for food for a pinch, but the thing is they don't fail you, and your food meter decreases pretty rapidly.
Mm-hmm.
Toasted seaweed is easy to make, but also it doesn't seem to it's super easy to make, and seaweed is like really plentiful, and it doesn't seem to like have this, at least not to the same level as berries, where it rapidly decreases your
how many little health orbs does the seaweed give you?
a half. So but getting a stack of 64 of them is really easy.
Okay.
And you eat them fast. Like you just plow through them. So they don't heal a lot, but you eat them. Really fast.
Yeah. Well, the biggest, like, most of the time I have my character, using like potatoes or bread or steak or whatever, something to have higher levels of food gain and satiety. I keep the berries around for when I'm taking like small amounts of damage, because it's like, well, I'll heal a heart, and then I have like 1 orb I need to fill, and I don't want to eat a full potato for it, so then I'll just eat 1 berry, and I'll repeat that while I heal.
Berries are just kind of a hassle too, because of bushes.
Well, that depends. I don't know if you saw what I did with my bushes.
What did you do?
I planted them all around the riverbanks to stop enemies from climbing up on them.
And they don't hurt you?
I mean, they do if I run into them, but I don't do that.
Okay.
But,
you mean like they're like a lower level?
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you mean.
I basically, like, they can be a pain, but I specifically use them as a deterrent to drive enemies away.
I tried to do that around a house one time. Started getting hurt, and I'm like, no, where's the kitty?
I think this way. Here we are. Cool.
Skeleton. This is not you. This place. Go back to the underworld. And chill out there, whatever.
Oh. Let's not make that mistake.
What are you gonna do?
I started hitting the diamond, and then I'm like, oh yeah, steel pickaxe.
Apparently, I found out earlier that you can destroy, because I ran into a town with 2 churches. So I was like, oh, I'll just take one of the potion make, the brew thingies, and leave the other one so I can level up priest. Apparently, you need to destroy it with a iron pickaxe, or at least a pickaxe, because an axe just completely destroys it.
Yep.
Wish I knew that earlier.
Sorry. Had I?
No, I don't believe.
I guess there's a thunderstorm going on upstairs.
Ooh. There was this one time where
Either that or the biggest creeper ever just threw a fit.
I mean, creepers don't go after villagers. They only go after you, right?
I believe so.
And skeletons go after villagers. I mean, zombies. But I don't know if skeletons.
I'm not sure. Yeah, zombies do. Absolutely. And sometimes when they kill villagers, you get villager zombies.
Yeah, zombie villager.
Okay. Let's figure out how to get topside with my 4 diamonds. Oh, I'm a fucking idiot.
You don't have that special little...
No, I didn't use it. No. I went up top to grab the bucket of water and I didn't even think about grabbing that. Oh, well. It's fine. We all have our moments.
Some more than others. Pointing one to myself. Jesus Christ.
That's something big that I like. I don't know. I've said a lot, and I can never emphasize it enough. I really can't. Because sometimes people get down on themselves or you know, get on other people. And it's like, you know, sometimes we get the spotlight, sometimes we play the part of the comic relief, but between the two, like, everybody has those days. Good or bad, you're going to get both. And,
well, no one's one-dimensional. That's something I say. Because, one thing I really hate, is I'm very, you know, I like to make my own OCs. I'm very character focused. One trope I hate absolutely so much is the one-note characters, where this is the funny one, this is the smart one, this is the, and the thing is, yeah, there's gonna be people who are gonna be smarter, who are gonna be more, you know, comedical and stuff like that. But we all can be, or there's one thing I hate is like the depressed one. Like, everyone can be anything at certain times of their life, or who are complex. And I like it when characters like, hey, I have this side of me, but I also have to struggle with this side of me. Like, I like characters who just have that one single note just annoy me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you do definitely get certain things that are like, let's say, some shows where characters are, I guess a token character.
Yes.
But, you know, I don't necessarily have an issue with a character being labeled the smart one, as long as there's more to them than that.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's like one show. This might be a controversial opinion. do not like the Scooby Doo. I don't like the characters. I don't like how they keep trying to come back. All those characters are one-note characters. Daphne's always the one is the smart one, and that's kind of all she is. Or no, I'm sorry, the film is. And Daphne's the pretty girl, and that's kind of all she is. She's often the one to get captured or something like that. And then Scooby and Shaggy are just cowards. Fred is the blandest piece of toast character. He doesn't even have. Like, I guess he is.
He's the muscle.
No, he's not even that. He's the one like, let's do a gang. Okay, he's the obvious leader, so he's the most
He doesn't need to have a defining feature because he's the leader.
Oh God, the Leonardo, which is another leader type character who's also often written poorly.
Well, to me, that's always the what it boils down to is they're the leaders, so they don't need to have any sort of personality.
They're the mom of the group, I guess, is what. But he's there's the thing is there's a few Scooby-Doo iterations that I end up really liking, and those are all the ones where the monsters and the supernatural element is real, because there's this line of movies where that was the case, where there was really zombies, there was really liking, because they also kind of did more with the characters in a way.
Okay.
But a lot of hardcore fans hate those versions because they go against the hardcore formula. And to me, whenever a formula is challenged, that's just, I naturally really like that or appreciate that, because formulas get really stale. Like The Legend of Zelda was getting really formulaic and to the point where, you know, what was their least well-received game?
Breath of the Wild?
No. Least well-received. That's
least. Not counting the Philips CDI games?
No, what was it? I can't believe I'm blanking on the title. Legend of Zelda and...
Describe it.
The one with the wee waggle one.
Skyward Sword?
That's it. Yes. Okay, so that game was cursed from the beginning because so during E3, you know, everyone used to do the hardcore press conference and stuff like that. Nintendo's last press conference is when they were showcasing Skyward Sword, and everything went wrong. Everything it showed that how things were just not working right, and basically it was definitely a foreshadowing on just how bad the game, and not necessarily like the functionality of the game was bad. It's just that the game was so tied to its formula that it was handhold, and there was no real surprises to it or anything like that. And then that was like the last press live press conference. Now they just do the Nintendo Direct, where they can control every aspect, which it has been really well received because you know, there's never those awkward.
Well, part of it is because it is also a full like presentation. It isn't.
Yeah, it's like they can polish it a lot more.
Yeah. I mean, even when somebody makes a press conference, like, that's still something that's a I don't want to say it's ballsy, but it's you're playing with fire to a certain extent. A press conference is supposed to be for breaking news, you know. A presentation is a presentation. There's a reason. There's a difference between the two. That's all. And trying to use one as the other is a bad idea in general.
Well, the thing is, a big part of it is trying to showcase your games and generate hype. And if it doesn't do that very well, then yeah, it doesn't look.
No.
Which is kind of obvious. But yeah, Skyward Sword, but I did play it quite a bit, and it was just, it was basically formulated to the T, to a fault. There's this dowsing element to it. I don't know if it's not, but the dowsing element was so bad because the thing is, the game was so linear. Like, you can see where you need to go, but the game forced you to use this dowsing element to show you which way you need to go, even though the path was super clear. And I'm like, I don't need to use the dowsing. I just need to go to the path that's right there. That's obvious. Like, there's walls all over this area except that one opening. It makes sense that I go that direction. Like, that was literally a thing that happened. And but then with Breath of the Wild, so I guess you could say that they Link Between Worlds was where they didn't completely break off away from the formula, but they tested things out.
They began to
really
diverge.
Cool. Yeah, and then Breath of the Wild was so refreshing, so good. It was like my biggest thing for games that I love is the exploration element, and that hit home. Like, you can climb literally everything in that game, and I appreciate that so much. And it was exactly what I felt that the series needed. And I'm not someone, I never played it. Like, my first Zelda games were on the Game Boy, or those Stages and Seasons. And then my first console was Wind Waker, which was already like them trying to break away from the formula as far as the visuals go. And they got a lot of flack from.
Well, it wasn't necessarily just breaking away from the formula. It also had a lot of honestly trying to prove a point, because they were dealing with so much bullshit with, better graphics. They basically said, hey, listen, the GameCube could do this, but we're not gonna yet because all of you are bitching about it. So let's show you that a game is more than just how it looks.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate that so much. And I love Wind Waker. I love the cartoony style and sort of the, and it didn't take away, like, the seriousness of the game. Like, Link had so much more personality. Because one thing about Ocarina of Time, Link, not that interesting. Like, he's a silent character, yeah, like, where people can project themselves. I get it, but it wasn't like you're playing this guy and he didn't do any, like, and all these weird and wonderful things were happening, and he had zero emotional reaction to everything. And I'm like, are you kidding? And where Toon Link was like, he had an expression for everything, and I loved that, because that got me into the world and the game and a lot more. But that's probably me. That's probably not the same for a lot of people. Maybe they want their hero to be stoic and not have any expressions or whatever.
And that's one of the well, I mean, that's one of the dividing points of modern media, honestly. Like, the number of, again, people that, like, have you watched The Witcher yet?
I have not. I've been kind of wanting to. I really want to play the games, and I want to know if, like, is it better to play the games first or watch?
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. Okay.
No. I have a friend, and he. I mean, I had been hearing good things about it anyway, and I actually just got the games on the December sale. But I mean, the games are adapted from a book. And technically the series follows more of the book than the games, which is where everything starts anyway, or kind of. It's a little wishy-washy as well, because I guess originally the author just wanted to create a bunch of short stories, and it just went over really, really well. So the author was like, "Nah, I guess I'm making a franchise now." So anyway, yeah. What was I getting at? So
Lacan_Messent said, makes me think I should start writing LOL.
You might.
Lacan_Messent said, maybe I can accidentally luck into a franchise.
Dude, it's always worth a shot. Make sure the thing I'll say is, a lot of people decide they want to write something, but they don't actually know enough of what they're trying to do, or have put enough effort into
Research.
well, writing in general. This sounds really bad saying it out loud, but the bottom line is a lot of people have a story and they go, well, I could write a book, and they really have zero skill at writing. And I'm not saying that's the case with you. I'm just saying that make sure that you have that down. And not that it's necessarily hard to pick it up either. But a lot of people just go in blindly trying to, swing at this thing. And yeah, you can try it again and again, but, revision after revision is going to get publishers burned out and turn you into a joke. Make sure you have something down. Make sure you have your skills down, and most definitely make sure you have a good sounding board to work off of. Because friends and family will probably give you a...
It's good! Perfect!
Oh, totally. And that's why I've never tried LOL. The thing I always struggled with in English classes was writing poetry or stories. I'm a much better non-fiction writer LOL. Lacan_Messent said. But non-fiction is boring to me.
Non-fiction can be boring. You need to find the right stories. And unfortunately, there's a lot of history that just goes by the waysides. And when people say, truth is stranger than fiction, I don't know if I would say stranger, but there's a lot of weird shit out there that people have no idea. When I was playing through the end of Doom, I had a long chat with B talking about how a lot of what at least I was taught about the Civil War was a lie. Turns out Abraham Lincoln is kind of a big douchebag.
Not the hero that people...
No. Lincoln actually turns out to be a really big racist. And all the stuff that happened, some of the stuff that how it all shook down is really crazy. But that stuff gets overlooked because,
people want a hero.
Yeah. You go digging, you can find some good stories, but for the most part, I agree. Fiction tends to be more engaging. But a good sounding board is a definite must, because, you go to friends or family, and they'll tell you your work is great, pat on the back, keep at it. Most of the time because they don't want to hurt your feelings. If you get somebody who, can give honest critique, tell you what's bad and what's good, not only what they don't like, but why they don't like it, then that is going to be your most powerful tool to get something rolling. Especially if you can get, several people in on it. But, if you have a story down and you've got the time to dedicate to it, then chase it. Because, if you can get something to take off, I mean, a lot of the stuff is a fluke, let's face it. But not everybody has to be, a mind-blowing author in order to make a living.
Said, I've always wanted to write a story about a character who gets his powers from being in love, but I have yet to figure out a way to write it without the love interest becoming just a vehicle for making the main character more powerful, which is annoyingly one-dimensional. Lacan_Messent said. And how could a hero justify putting someone he loves in harm's way to fight harm?
Okay. If you're talking about the element of, interesting concept. Table that for a second. What were you going to say, B?
So there's people who are going to have natural talent to things. Do you think that somebody who's not that great at writing can be good, can develop that skill, or do you think that if someone is not that great, they're just always
There's this thing called aphasia. Do you know what that is?
No, I don't.
So if I describe something to you and I want you to draw it, I give you a description and you begin building a picture in your head, how you want it to look, and then go from there, right? Or no? Am I wrong?
No. I mean, what is that something we're doing now, or?
That I'm making, like, is that how you operate when you're drawing a picture?
Oh, do you mean okay, do you mean antiphasia or something like that?
Maybe that's it.
Yeah, there's okay, no, I know what you're talking about. Like, where some people just can't imagine pictures in their head.
Yes. And yet you have people who are artists with this condition.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I've heard, and there's that video that went around of this artist girl who has it. She talks about it.
So, I'm a strong believer that some people will have natural talents for a skill, and some people will have natural handicaps towards them. For example, I was not exposed. I didn't really even listen to music until I was in high school. In third grade, as part of our curriculum, we were taught how to play certain things on the recorder, that sort of flute type thing, which I thought was cool, but none of it stuck. None of it was done long enough for me to remember that. I generally speaking, I am not musically inclined. I like music now. I can even listen to certain things and identify elements of this or that. But when it comes to playing music or composing music, for the most part, I'm poop. It doesn't happen. I did try my hand at it for a while, and I found out that I do have a certain appreciation for especially like keyboards. During one of my stints of unemployment, I put effort into learning how to play piano to a very small extent, but I'm not good at it. It is not a natural talent for me. But if I wanted to refine it, I can still. I was still able to achieve certain things on my own, and I know that with a certain amount of guidance and better understanding, I could do more if I wanted to. I think there's even if somebody's not naturally disposed to something, even if somebody is very much the opposite of predisposed to a skill, they can still do it if they want to. I don't think.
Do you think that there's people who, just the way our brain makeup is, that there's going to be people who are, they can develop the skill, but they're not going to ever achieve on an amazing level to people who are just naturally gifted in making that connection?
They might. It'll just take them more effort, maybe a little more time learning it, but there's no reason they can't.
I guess I just worry that because I like to write. I guess the correct ways I like to come up with stories, and I would like to maybe I haven't started because I'm afraid that I'm just not good at writing, and maybe better to leave it to people who work.
If there's a story you want to tell, then tell it. I mean, you can draw. And in all honesty, that is a much larger benefit than... I mean, the bottom line is most people are short on time, and they're fucking lazy. It's amazing how many people don't want to bother, and who are just straight up ignorant. A comic is a medium where, you know, even if somebody doesn't understand exactly what's being written at that moment in time, they can still piece it together with what's drawn there. It also means that somebody can get through a piece of material much more quickly and easily than having to read it and picture it in their head. I guess what I'm saying is you have that ability, so it even if you have trouble struggling to develop a story, you have a rather large benefit on your side. You might as well go for it.
I definitely have plans that I'm going to try to work toward that aren't really story related, but are going to help a different kind of level of development. I don't know. Like, I wasn't always like this, but I have become kind of a critical person as far as like the media that I ingest. Like, because I think it's important to find, like, even if you really love something, it's important to, like, and it goes both ways. It's important, if you really love something, I think it's important to look at the flaws and go over them and learn why this doesn't work or that doesn't work, at least to your standards.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's something that you don't really like, I think it's also important to find the things that you do like, because not, like, most of the time, not everything is like 100% correct.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, there's like this fear that I just can't. Sure, I can judge, but I can't really do. And it makes me feel bad. Like what right do I have to judge or something like that if I can't even do it? So I don't know. Like, I make it this whole existential thing that doesn't need to be, but that's just kind of how I operate. Moral integrity is important to me, and probably more important to me than a lot of other things. And constantly trying to humble myself, but you know, the thing is, because staying humble is important to me too. But I know it gets to a point where I overdo it, and I almost devalue myself. But trying to find that balance is where, like, you know, is this a, I don't know, trying to balance it out, I guess, is just, it's hard, because I don't know, because you get stuck in your own head a lot, and you don't know, and at least I do, and I don't know how to pull up and you know, I hope at the gist of what I'm trying to say.
I think I get what you're saying. I mean, I don't know. For certain things,
It's definitely not something that has a difference. It's just something I have to play by ear, but, you know, maybe still try.
I mean, you know, if you're really concerned about how something's gonna go, then get some friends, get a test crowd going, and see again, get some feedback. When you say you're trying to be humble, there are many different elements that can apply to, and which parts exactly you're referring to, it depends on a case-by-case basis, I guess. On whether it's something where you're being humble or devaluing yourself. I can't necessarily say one answer is right or one answer is wrong. When it comes to giving criticism to something, I mean, first off, there are no wrong opinions. I would say the bigger issue is understanding, what like my girlfriend will admit that she when I call something a guilty pleasure, it's like her enjoying the Twilight movies. She knows that they really aren't that great, but she likes them anyway. And she is able to differentiate, to draw that line between... Oh, I made that jump. Cool. She's able to draw that line and distance, her personal enjoyment of them versus the actual quality in writing that went into them.
She's like how some people like, because I like this, it makes it a masterpiece.
Yeah. So a lot of people overlap opinion with
facts.
Yeah, and people say that you can't put what's the word? I believe you can look at something and tell whether it's objectively good or bad, separate from opinion. Other people say that you can't do that, but there are...
_Messent said, I can agree with that. I love the Super Mario Bros. Movie even if it's terrible, lol.
Yeah, me too. I actually thought it was a very interesting take.
_Messent said, I still think a cyberpunk Super Mario would work if it was written better.
Yeah, that would be cool. Hell, that would even be a cool game. I enjoy it too, and I thought it was an interesting take on the material, or at that point in time, lack of material they had to work with. But that doesnn't make it a good movie.
Which movie is he?
Super Mario Brothers.
Oh yeah, like as a kid I enjoyed it because I had no I like when I was watching.
I totally lost you, B.
Allowed to play the Mario, like a lot of video games in life, because that's the choice that my parents made. So I didn't have any context to the Super Mario world. But the Super Mario movie, I did enjoy it as a kid because I didn't have any context as to what the Super Mario universe was. I haven't watched it in a long time. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of elements. But there's some people who just hate movies because they don't follow, especially if they're based on a franchise or something, a universe.
And it is frustrating when you already have material, a story that you want to share with somebody or that you would like to see shared, and then it gets shit all over.
And they choose not to follow it, and it's like...
Then why bother giving it that title, right?
Yeah, and it goes against why it made it popular, why people love it.
Yeah. But in this one particular instance, when the movie was made, there was so little lore to the Mario Brothers franchise. The latest game was Super Mario World. the fourth game. You know, the what's the big storyline? Bowser's kidnapped the princess, and they need to make a fucking movie based on that.
And they did that, but she was still Princess Toadstool back then. So they made it all about they turned the king into a fungus or something like that.
Yeah, there was a bunch of stuff that they threw together in a very.
It's like they took a list that has elements of the games in the universe, but didn't try to connect them in the right way.
Well, I thought it was an interesting adaptation of the material, but there was so little to go on anyway. And I'm not saying that makes it right or it makes it a good movie. I'm just saying that I also, as far as the story goes, I'm not too harsh on it because it was something that was, if we're going to be realistic, just at the time a bad idea for a movie.
Bob Hoskins, before he passed, he did an interview and they asked him what was your least favorite work on. He did in fact say this because he said it was just an absolute mess. The directors was a married couple who couldn't take criticism very well, apparently. Just always the worst type of people.
Yeah.
Who are directing a movie are like. And he just said that, and plus, they were obviously not, he wasn't a fan, I guess, not that he disliked it, but he wasn't probably wasn't a fan, but they weren't really fans either. Now, you see, we live in an age where people who are legitimate fans, like Sonic, for instance, of a series or a franchise, and they get on making stuff for it, and it turns out to be some of the best stuff ever. Sonic Mania, for instance, is the obvious selection.
Yeah.
Versus Sonic Boom, which was actually a game that came out around the same time as me, and it was awful. It was one of the cheapest, terrible.
It did not go over well.
No, it didn't. It's they didn't put any effort into making it a good game. They're it has Sonic on it, and that's good enough. But that's actually been, kind of
the formula.
Formula where Sonic, his name is enough to get people to watch it or to want to experience it, and
that doesn't work. But no, from what I heard, Bob Hoskins was drunk on set the majority of the filming. And there was one point where I believe he fractured his hand or broke his wrist or something, and they had to keep going, so the entire rest of the movie he had to deal with that. I digress. But yeah, being able to look at something and distance opinion from, you can look at something and objectively say this was done well or this was done poorly. And yeah, people tend to tie emotions into that. But if they know what they're doing, then they should be able to look past that. And I think that's where some people run into problems because they
put their ego on the line.
Their ego, or they have trouble looking at where that opinion is and where that separator comes up.
One of the recent, I haven't seen the movie yet, I want to at some point, is the movie Cats. That would be definitely a movie that you could argue is objectively bad. But people love it because it's one of those so bad it's good.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw the film theory that Matt Pat did, but
I guess
he said that he has not laughed this much at a movie in years.
I really want to see it now. It's one of those things that I kind of want to see with a friend, though. Nearby to watch it with.
Did you see the original ever?
The original...
Cats.
Oh, no. I live in a place where you don't get a lot of those kind of Broadway plays, so...
Oh, no, it was, the play was recorded to video at some point.
Oh, okay. Oh, no, I've seen, like, clips on YouTube, but I haven't watched it.
Okay, I saw, well, again, it was a VHS of the original play, and it wasn't great. I mean, the entire musical is, from my understanding, a bunch of essentially short stories or poems that were adapted into a collection to be performed on stage. So there's a reason some of it is kind of disjointed, in a way.
Well, one thing is I kind of wonder is that, so it's an Andrew Lloyd Webber play.
Mm-hmm.
And this is after his whole success with, like, Phantom and all that. And I'm just kind of wondering if this is, like, one of those things where it's like, oh, he's, kind of writing off of that. Have a lonely place. Jump off a cliff into the water, because that's the only safe place. Alright, hang on, it's one of those things where it's like, is it famous because he was already famous, kind of thing.
Oh, I mean, there's a good...
If it wasn't him that brought that play to life, would have been a received it.
That's a good question, and I honestly can't answer that. All I'm saying is it's worth checking out, and it's not as... I mean, I don't know. The way that they've been digitized does definitely cross that uncanny valley area, whereas the Broadway musical actually has, like, really amazing costumes to it.
Yeah, I did look at that. I liked it. And one thing I do like the namings, like the weird, but it fits kind of perfectly the naming scheme they have for the cats. Like all the Jellicle cat names are, like, really kind of fun and interesting, and what was it, Jenny Any Dots or Rum Tum Tugger, like, those names are really fun to say, and they actually really fit well for alley cats who kind of name themselves.
Yeah, and
I really love that aspect.
There are elements of it that are good. I don't think the source material is bad. I think it was just really, really shitty execution for this movie, with somebody wanting to try and make this thing that was, over the top, like, why use the CGI when you already have these amazing costumes? Why not take that a step further? Why have these weird digitized environments? Like, if you're gonna do that, then, like, try... I mean, again, that's one of the things that in the actual musical, the backgrounds are these things that aren't just supersized elements of the everyday world. They've been adapted in ways that kind of make sense, the same way that... I'm trying to drop an example here. Like in Hollow Knight, the way they've taken, like, certain objects and turned them into other objects.
Mm-hmm.
They did that in the stage play.
like converting garbage into, like, furniture, so like a tin can into a chair or something. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Okay.
Meeting this kind of somewhere between surreal and childlike range, where it's like halfway between playing pretend, halfway between understanding what the way that these creatures see the world. And
like to cats, like everything's a bet if you are determined enough.
Yeah. And that's cool. But then, in this one you just have digitized people dancing around alleyway that's really big in the background. It's like, yeah.
Have you seen Cats, the movie?
I've only seen clips of the new one. I haven't bothered to watch it, and I really don't care to. But
you don't want to? You don't want to have that kind of awful fun?
I don't normally fall into the crowd of so bad it's good. It takes a very special kind of film to resonate in that area with me.
To be honest, I haven't even seen it.
You haven't even what?
I haven't even seen The Room yet. I've just seen clips of it.
I don't want to bother with that one, honestly. That's too much crazy for me. I saw the Nostalgia Critic review, and that was enough. I've seen certain episodes of Mystery Science Theater 3000. My girlfriend really likes it, and there are certain things. Huh?
No, go ahead. Finish your thought. I'm sorry.
There are certain episodes that I like, ones that are fun, and then there are others that I really don't care. It really depends on like what kind of jokes they put in there and how easy it is to laugh at the movie in the first place. But honestly, a movie that I can just watch and laugh at is like Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Really?
Have you seen that one?
No, I haven't. That's an Ed Wood movie, right?
Yeah.
I do. I have one. I definitely want to see the Johnny.
The what?
They did a movie based on Ed Wood, and Johnny definitely played him.
Oh yeah. I haven't had the chance to check that one out yet. I mean, I've heard good things. But yeah, I don't know. Like a lot of the stuff that's so bad it's good. For me, it's a very fine line. It has to be bad, but it has to keep everything going to some extent. Because, like, from what I saw of The Room, Nostalgia Critic breezes through it so quickly that I don't mind too much. But if I actually had to sit through that entire, like, hour and a half...
You would be bored.
Yeah. I mean, there are certain elements you can laugh at, but the rest of it is like you're just basically sitting around waiting for the movie to happen. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I don't care.
That's... I think I would need to see the...
You would need to see what?
Because I don't watch movies how you like. Eventually, when I'm watching movies alone, I will pause it a lot because my mind just the ADD ADHD thing kind of takes effect, and I just need to pause it, go do something else, and then I'll come back to it. Like I do that with YouTube videos all the time. I can't watch them straight through all the time. And or I'll like. If I'm bored, for instance, I'll just fast forward until it gets to past this part. Like I can't just I definitely don't watch movies like how you're supposed to watch movies. And to appreciate, like, but when I'm with friends or I'm in a theater, I'm kind of forced to. And it's not that I don't mind it like that. Like I said,
and B.
But
take care, Lacan Masson. I've already stayed up an hour past when I was planning to, so I'm going to wrap it up in just a few minutes here myself.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, you were saying, B?
I don't know. like a movie like that, I think if I was to watch it by myself, I would get bored. But I kind of so there's just something when you watch a movie with friends and you can experience just how it is.
Well, you're kind of feeding off of each other with the goofiness and you know how you see the humor.
Yeah, and I want that, especially with cats. But especially since Toki and Oregon, there's not going to be a lot of opportunity, and even then, our taste in movies are very different. They got me to watch the movie Home, which is an animated movie, and really they love that movie. They think it's amazing, and I watched it with them, and I thought it was the worst thing ever, and I hated it so much. And the thing is, the reason that they loved it though is because they are big Bang Theory fans.
Okay.
And basically, the main character is played by the guy who plays Sheldon, and it's basically like if Sheldon was an alien. That's how he played it.
If Sheldon was what?
That was an alien. And that's exactly how the guy played it. And if you're not into that, if you're not into Sheldon and the Big Bang Theory and how he is, how awkward he is, then there's nothing really there for you. But you know, that's like you know, like we were talking about, different opinions doesn't mean good or bad. It's just different.
Yeah.
I thought sunken ship.
You what?
Like the sunken ships are really fun. I really like the addition. It'd be cool if we could like actually make a ship like this, though.
That's yeah, that's something that I think would be nice eventually, especially because ships are, you know,
like you can make them like an RV, like a portable.
You don't need to worry about getting them over terrain the way that you do, you know, say any sort of other vehicle. It's on water, and the water's always going to be flat. Or you could at least say that, you know, if the level of the water is going to change, it just won't go up or down.
Jeez, how are the drowned so fucking slow, and then they still can sneak up on?
Well, if they have tridents, then that's really easy, you know.
Well, no, like I'm like looking around the sunken ship, and somebody hear this gurgle, and I turn around and point me.
I don't know.
Like, if obviously these kind of ships exist in this world, we should be able to make them. I mean, that's just my argument.
Yeah. Well, again, something you can actually steer. You can drive around. It's water is significantly easier than land. Land you have to account for, you know, what's all the different like levels, and it can't traverse this or that. Water, it's all the same. It's flat, you know.
There we go.
Anyway, I'm gonna call it a night.
That's fair. It's late.
I need to, I'm not, as far as I know, getting up super early tomorrow, but I really should start working on getting my sleep schedule back in order. Excuse you. Okay. It's a shame. It's a shame you have all these different banners that you can put into the loom and modify, and then the ones from the pillagers that I wish I could feed in there and put a red X across them, they won't let you change them.
I wish you can. I like when I was going through random seeds, find like a level I want to play. They put me right next to. I'd spawn right next to a outpost, and how cool would that be if I could turn that outpost into the villagers will always keep spawning. And I think it should be. You get rid of all their banners around the outpost. If you do that. That should like make it so they don't spawn anymore. You can click.
I think there's a way you can stop them. I'll need to look it up. I thought there was a way you could actually clear them out. Maybe not. I don't know. Anyway.
Alright, you have a good night, okay?
You too. Get yourself some rest. Good luck on getting stuff figured out with Windows 10.
Oh, we'll look at the link tomorrow. Look if you can. Don't do it now. Go to sleep.
Okay.
But if you can look at the link tomorrow, just give me like this looks pretty good. I'll jump to this.
Okay.
I'll be able to join you guys. We can play together. That'll be fun.
Well, you can install it now. It isn't.
It won't even let me download. Like I can't even download it from the site.
Oh. Okay. Well.
Otherwise, I would.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, like, just get it installed and then.
Oh, do you mean Windows 10?
Huh?
Do you mean Windows 10 or Bedrock Edition?
Windows 10.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can get Windows 10 installed, and then just pop in the license later once everything's taken care of.
Okay. All right. I will. Hello?
I'm here.
Oh. I guess I don't know something like that, but I'll catch you later. Okay.
Okay.
Have a good night.
You too. Take care.